Russia's largest oil refining plant in the city of Omsk, producing 10% of country's entire gasoline output, has just exploded. This event was preceded by numerous drone attacks on oil refineries all over southern and central Russia: Tuapse, Novoshakhtinsk, Krasnodar, Volgograd, Tula, just to name a few oil refining plants. Today, in the late summer of 2024, it's not looking good. In the end of May, a few months ago, the situation was already bad, and the Russian government made statistics on gasoline production classified. Think about it. They classified gasoline statistics. What other proof to understand that the situation is dire one would need? Do you know what is the result of that they cannot hide? It's the prices people pay at the pumps, and they're rising fast. In July alone, wholesale prices for premium gasoline jumped 25%. And that's way before Omsk explosion. But despite all these gas refining troubles, I say that the Russians will be fine because they're coming back into the normal state of living, the USSR. There wasn't any gasoline at the pumps there, and the history will repeat itself very soon. And this is what my stream today is all about. Howdy, howdy, friends. My name is Konstantin. Welcome to Inside Russia, where usual Russia is explained by the unusual Russian, and I'll prove you that I am unusual Russian, and I have been one since pretty much I was born. At this channel, you will not find any BS, propaganda, or lies. As usual, you will find common sense, truth, and logic, and some emotions because I am a human being after all. This live stream will consist of 3 parts: the message itself, then we will discuss and I'll answer questions. I'd like to invite everyone to share opinions, and we will finish with a prayer. So let's do it. Let me check the sound. Sound looks good. Now, you might have heard of the Omsk explosion yesterday. It was major. It was major. It's made the news all over the world. Reuters, the Newsweek, Radio Liberty, and other Western media picked up the story. The huge explosion on the plant in Omsk, located around 2,700 kilometers or 1,700 miles east of Moscow, way back into Siberia. 7 people injured, one injured very seriously. According to the insiders, a crude distillation unit, or CDU, in Russian it's called AVT, so CDU 11, one of the 2 largest primary refining units at the plant, was affected by the fire. But that's what everyone's talked about, and there are some things that unfortunately have not been covered. A few critical, crucial details have been left out. Here at Inside Russia, we believe that the devil is in the details. So listen to this. The plant, owned and controlled by Gazprom, its subsidiary called Gazprom Neft, a Gazprom company, immediately made a statement saying that, this fire would not affect the production plan. I saw the fire, I saw the smoke coming out, and just a few seconds, amateur filming, so to speak, from afar. Huge. Okay. And I all of a sudden, well, immediately had doubts when I heard their statement about that situation not affecting the production plan. We always look at the actions, not the words, right? A few hours after they made that statement, they shut down most of the plant. That's very typical. They always downplay any serious situation. So now the next detail is hugely important. Another primary unit, CDU 10, was already put out of operation due to another fire in early August, just a few days ago. Fire after fire happens on a strategical oil refining facility, the biggest in Russia. Nice. The next important news is that this installation, this piece of plant, CDU 11, is brand new. Folks, it's brand new. It was commissioned last year, 2023. And CDU 10 was modernized in 2021, 3 years ago. And both units in 2024, they both burned down. Do you know what it means? They weren't Russian made. There isn't any information in public, and I've searched about what this technology and where it came from. Okay, um, it's not in public access now, and even the website of Gazprom Neft is inaccessible. It's down. Okay, which is, well, I was going to say odd, but it's actually not odd. That's expected. They just keep in silence, the best they can do, and that's what they do best. From my experience, I assume that this unit, CDU 11, was not Russian made. Russians simply cannot produce. They produce virtually zero for oil refining. They do not possess the technology, they do not possess the manufacturing facilities. How do I know? Back in 2018, well, I'm coming from engineering. This is where my background. Um, my company was building power plants, and I was the chief business development officer for a large construction corporation. And one of our companies was pure engineering. It used to be a joint venture with a Swedish company called Sweco Group, but then Sweco left Russia and we were on our own. So back in 2018, I was involved into bidding for construction of an oil refinery in southern Russia. We partnered with a Spanish company, the general contractor, called ACS Group, one of the largest construction companies in the world. I personally flew to Madrid and held negotiations with ACS team, and we made a deal. Our company would be local partner, providing the engineering according to Russian norms and standards, and ACS would also provide all necessary licenses, and ACS would provide everything else. The huge, they're general contractor. By the way, they also own the football club Real Madrid. So they promised me to take me to one of the boxes if we signed the contract, for one of the games. Never happened, but hey, did bidding, okay, with them. Met them, good guys. Traveled to Spain. So that's what I learned a thing or two about oil refining plants. Oil refining is nothing more than a series of processes, thousands of them. And in this business, they're called licenses. Okay? Oil is, well, imagine this oil plant is just a huge cube, okay? And oil is fed into one part of this cube, and it goes through many, many, many processes, chemical, physical processes, thousands of them, okay? And it comes out at the other side of the cube, and it's not oil anymore, it's gasoline, okay? And a few other things also happen in the process and the byproducts and all of that. So this is how oil is refined. This is a very basic explanation. That's the best I can do, okay? The thing is, the processes that break down and change oil and, change it into gasoline, the processes are owned by different companies, which actually researched and licensed processes. They own copyright. So this process, again, they're called licenses, and you have to pay for the licenses for each one of them. And they cost lots of money. Usually one company aggregates licenses and resells them to customer as a package. The customer is owner of oil refining plant or whoever wants to build a new one. And that's exactly what ACS Group was. It accumulated all the licenses and then just said, hey, we would build an oil refining plant, okay? So the thing to note here is nothing is made in Russia. Neither licenses nor equipment, nothing. I hope I'm not boring you to death, folks. Why is this important? Applying to Omsk refining plant. Two brand new crude distillation units, very efficient, very modern, blew up and burned down. Can they be repaired? Yes, but only with the involvement of those who own the technologies and processes and produce the equipment. But they're foreigners, and they have left Russia. So I am betting that close to 10% of gasoline supply in Russia is instantly gone. And this Omsk refinery plant will not be repaired in the near future. So 10% of gas in Russia evaporated. Now let's combine that with the previous troubles in the oil refining industry, and what do we get? Two things. Very simple. Prices going up and the pumps getting dry. And we have started seeing that already. I think that the Omsk effect will be felt in about 3 to 4 weeks. The prices will jump instantly. They're jumping up right now, but the amount of gas available at the pumps will start decreasing in about 3 weeks. That's my estimation. Now, the price is going up. It's fairly expected one way or another. Russian economy is not doing well, and, oil prices is just one of the basic things. But the pump's getting dry. Oh, that's much more serious. That's different. That will affect all the industries, except for the military industrial complex, of course. They will have all the fuel they need. That's the government's business, okay? But everyone else will feel the heat. And that but shortage of fuel will definitely have a negative multiplier effect on the Russian economy as a whole. Still, I dare to say that Russian people will be okay with the fuel shortages. They're going to be fine. Before I explain why, I'd like to take a sip of this wonderful English breakfast tea, extra strong, which I absolutely love. I'm drinking the Twinings today. And I would like to thank you. Just a quick update. I'm still demonetized. I'm still back and forth with Google. They're not being very helpful, but at least they're talking to me. That's I give it to them. Well, I'm humbly accepting everything that is flying my way. Um, Lemons, I'm trying to take them, make lemonade, but that I won't talk much about it. I wanted to thank you again. The emails keep on coming. There are new patrons every day, and people buy me coffees and send me PayPal um, money. And I still receive emails every single day with good words, with wishes, with um, love. Thank you so much. Thank you, friends. Like I said, monetized or not, expect me to appear in front of this camera at the usual time and talk of things that I find absolutely important. Thank you. Thank you so much. So it's very touching. It's very emotional to me. Thank you so much. Now back to fuel business. So I dare to say that Russians will be all right. I dare to say there will be no protests because of the fuel shortage of fuel. Not even like rise in price of fuel. That's peanuts. Okay, I'm talking about the shortage of fuel, shortage of gas, shortage of diesel. People get to the pumps. Pumps are dry. That will not lead to protests. That will not lead to a revolution. Why? Russian people are well trained to live without fuel. Most of us were born in the times of the USSR, where owning a car was a luxury, unaffordable by the most. Only the privileged ones had cars, owned cars. Statistically speaking, every thousand Soviet citizens had 59 cars between them. 1059. My family definitely wasn't privileged one. I was inside cars very rarely. Can't say that I can count on fingers of both hands. No, more than that. But I was in the car perhaps once a month or so. Okay. Um, my parents couldn't afford even taxi cabs. Prices were just simply astronomical for them. Owning the car was like a dream. And I personally dreamt of owning and driving a car. I love it. I still love driving. That's one of the most favorite thing that I have. I wanted to have good cars, and I always wanted to drive. But owning the car in the USSR wasn't that easy. I'm not saying wasn't that cheap. No, wasn't that easy. First, the quality of Soviet cars was absolute crap. Second, the spare parts, they came from the same factories, so their quality was absolute crap as well. But also, they were extremely rare because, you know, they weren't producing enough of the spare parts. So there was a black market for them, and people would just do anything to get spare parts for their cars. And the third thing is the car service was literally non existent. One had to wait in line for months to have his or her car fixed. There was also black market, but it was a very risky business because cops in the KGB would caught people who were, fixing cars, other people's cars for money, and that was called illegal entrepreneurship. And there was a very harsh law that punished people up to 10 years in prison for that, for providing honest service. But then there was another problem, a huge problem: lack of gasoline at pumps. Well, I did not face it every day. I did not face it at all because we didn't have a car. But I was a part of that culture. And I remember the gas pumps, throughout the city where I was growing up in Rostov on Don. I remember old gas pumps. And they were nothing like modern gas pumps right now. Check out, I specifically found a picture of an old Soviet gas station. That's how it looked like. Well, I think the picture was taken in the 90s, but that thing was Soviet. There's no question. These white boxes are called pumps, and I think they painted fancy because in the USSR they weren't painted nicely red and white. They were just gray or black or something like that. And there was a place where a person was sitting, a cashier. You would go in and you would pay. Well, that was a little problem. Almost every single gas station was out of gas, pretty much at any time. And there was always a big sign said no gas, benzina нет. That's what it read in Russian. How do I know? Oh, well, it was a very, very, very simple thing to tell. Was there gas at the gas station or was not? When they had gas at the gas stations, there was immediately a long queue of cars. It's like a drive by in McDonald's on a busy rush hour. I don't know, like when Disney World closes in Orlando. Imagine thousands of people driving back home and stopping at McDonald's. And they, at drive by, drive ins, they form huge lines. And that's what every single gas station with gas in the USSR, at least in the 80s. I remember that. I remember a funny story. I remember there was a children magazine. It was called Юный изобретатель, the young inventor, and basically teenagers and children from all over the USSR would send their ideas or inventions to be published there. Okay, there was no copyright, nothing like that. It was just if they published your invention, there was very honorable thing. So I remember I was 9 years old, and the year was 1985. And I was reading that magazine. It was very interesting. It kind of like broadened my horizons. And one teenager had a few ideas. And one of them was he proposed to rebuild gas stations. Because when lots of Soviet cars lined up, they were idling and they were not environmentally friendly, you know, and it was really hard to breathe around them. Okay, and it was always like a smoke of black, a cloud of black smoke around the gas station with gas, and people tried to avoid it. So this guy or kid or child, I don't know. So he said, "Look, why don't cars drive up, and there would be a long, long slope leading downwards to the gas station. So the car would drive up, shut the engine off, and then would simply, roll down with the engine off. Therefore, there would be no gas used, idling, and therefore there would not be, bad smell. There wouldn't be any pollution." So imagine that you drive up, okay, and then you shut down your engine and you just drive down. At the bottom there's a gas station, so you make an artificial hill. That was a brilliant idea, only I thought a little different. I thought, why, instead of making that complicated large thing, rebuilding all the gas stations, why don't they just start selling more gas at the gas stations, at more gas stations, and then there would be no lines? I think I was onto something. I think it was also a brilliant idea. If you think so, press the like button and let me know in the comments. What do you think? I think my idea was even better than that guy who proposed to make this artificial, like, hill. you know so I always was the unusual Russian, when I always asked very uncomfortable questions. My parents couldn't answer them. Teachers couldn't answer them. I remember one teacher, I was like 11 or 12 years old, and I asked her why everyone is leaving the USSR and emigrating to other countries, America, Israel, but we're the best country in the world. There's no question about why people don't come to our country, why we don't have any immigrants. The teacher looked at me in a very sad way and said, look, what you just asked me, don't ask anyone else. Just forget about this question. Just let's move on. Okay, just give you an idea of what my childhood was like. So anyway, that gives you an idea of what was happening with fuel, gas in Russia, in the Soviet Union. There were shortages, huge shortages. Okay, and why they were shortages? Because no one cared if people, car owners, would get access to gasoline. Okay, they didn't care. There was no competition. The government didn't care, how much it would sell, how many people would be satisfied. It's called central planning. People in Moscow decided, okay, we have so many oil refineries, we have so many oil storage facilities, and we have so many pumps. We need gas for the state owned enterprises, we need diesel fuel for the army, and whatever is left for people, okay? And then, for example, a fire happens at the oil refinery or something happens and they don't produce plant output. They must supply the army, they must supply the enterprises. There's no way around it, okay? But they don't have to supply people. So people are left dry, so to speak. And that's how they explained it. And, no one cared. There was just write a report. Oh, we could not produce such and such amount, and we could not deliver to the gas pumps because of this and that. And the Gosplan, the central planning, that was fine for them. Okay, people wrote report, they explained what happened. That's enough. That's good enough. Okay. At the end, people, regular people who owned cars, were left dry without gas. So there was black market for gas, but it was risky. So a lot of people were just driving around looking for gas. I know it sounds crazy. You drive around, burn your gas, looking for gas, but that's what happened. And I remember you could flag down a large truck and ask him to sell you some gas or some diesel fuel. I don't remember. And it was a long hose, and you stick hose into gas tank, and you would suck in a little bit of gas, and then it would start flowing, and you put into your car, and then boom, you get a little bit of fuel. So that's always had a sip or so of gasoline in your mouth, and that's just not pretty. Okay, so that's how the system worked. And then USSR fell apart all of a sudden, and the free market was born, and it was real free market. All the oil refineries were privatized, and they started being owned by companies, corporations, or individuals, and there was competition. So the first thing I remember in '91, we started having gas everywhere. But the thing is, somehow there were only two or three gas stations with good reputation, and people would drive there to get good quality gas. Okay, but everywhere else there was like a very widespread business back then. 91, 92, 93, I remember, 90 up to 96 or 97. So basically you would buy yourself gas tank truck gas tank truck, and wasn't huge, not like America tractor trailers in America. It was just you know, a big tank, like water tank, and you'd fill it up with gas and at the refinery or a gas storage facility, and you would just drive, stop at the side of the road, put up a sign, gas here, and you would just put a hose out, and people would drive to your truck, and you would just fill their tanks with gas. Okay, the problem was with quality of that gas because people tried to, well, they did dilute it with water a lot, and cars suffered. And if you owned a very nice car, foreign made, that it was not recommended that you would get gas from a gas truck from benzavoz, as it was called. Russian cars were less. They had lower requirements for gas, so to speak, because they were very low tech. And I remember my parents were able to afford the car in '95, and I drove it, and I used to get gas at those trucks, and it was cheaper, by the way, cheaper than going to gas stations. And the gas stations were the same as, this one. They didn't change much for first few years. They're just, this is a typical gas station. But then something interesting started happening. Well, first of all, I also remember in '95 we had a little thing at school. I was an economics student. I was also studying, taking management classes, and one of our professors was a pretty active guy, and he set up some kind of a think tank, like invention tank. So we would bring our ideas and try to make a business out of them. And one fellow I remember came and said, "Look, this is an invention of old Soviet design institute. There's a portable tester. You can take," and he showed us a box. You can take this box, you put a little bit of gas, and it gives you the octane number. It was absolutely unheard at the time, and it was like a breakthrough technology because we could see the quality of gasoline we were buying from benzavozi, from the gas trucks. Okay, and the professor looked at him and said, "Look, it's not gonna fly." Said it's brilliant, absolutely brilliant, and if we were to sell it on market, this would make millions. But you are giving the market full of benzavozi, those trucks, people making so much money diluting gas with water, and you giving something that would prevent them to do that. So they're gonna kill you. They're not gonna let you do that. So great invention, but we're not gonna touch it. So it's just an interesting story, personal story. Anyway, I remember in 1996, in the early '96, something happened. Oh boy, city of Rostov-on-Don. Again, all the gas stations are this ones, and trucks, trucks, small trucks with tanks full of gasoline. And then all of a sudden, a Turkish company comes in and builds a modern gas station. It's the gas station that you are used to. That's can be found all over the world and all over Russia. And I remember it was such a new concept to us. Of course, gas was much more expensive there, but it was much better quality. All the Mercedeses, BMWs, Audis, and Volvos were coming to get gas there, and it was pretty. It was a normal, regular gas station. And then I looked at it. You know, couldn't afford gas. I didn't have much money back then. But I drove by and I actually walked into the gas station. I was in awe. I looked around and I said, "Wow, this is like a museum." And I remember I had another thought back then. '96, I think it was February. I was pretty proud of my country, of my people. I said, "Look, this is competition. This is what I studied at school. This is supply and demand." And it was a good feeling. It was a feeling of hope for the future. But that's a different stream. Okay, so the first gas station, and in Russia, in Rostov, gas stations started growing like mushrooms. Now, there are no gas stations like this. All modern, all nice, just like you are used in the USA, in Canada, in Germany, all over Europe. Just like that. So, and in 2022, unfortunately, everything has been nullified. Everything was nullified. You see, Russia came a long way, and us Russians, we achieved a lot. We came from the USSR, where only 59 people out of 1,000 owned cars, to Russia, where in 2022 they were 348 cars per thousand people. That's 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 a huge leap. Okay, and it could be just the beginning. I think in Europe, the number is 6 to 650 people. But hey, compare 59 to 348. That is a huge difference. And that shows you that Russia was on the right track for a long time. That's how far we went, and was pretty proud of it. We evolved, we developed, we improved. Russia had new oil refineries. Russia had plenty of gasoline. I don't remember one single moment in my life when I was driving in Russia and I could not find gas. I do not remember one gas station looking like this with a sign no gas, just like in my childhood. No, no, all modern. British petroleum gas stations, Lukoil, all over Russia, Tatneft, um, just restaurants, nice, clean bathrooms inside. I never worried about quality of gasoline. So we evolved and developed until February 24th, 2022, when some crazy people or crazy men made a decision to invade neighbor country. And, you know, the rest we have been discussing for the past 2.5 years. Vladimir Putin nullified everything. Nullified. He threw Russia back into the USSR. Ever since he became the president, he started saying how sad it was, how tragical it was that the USSR was, fell apart, and he finally reached his, I guess, dream of bringing the USSR back. Because now there will be no gas signs on Russian gas stations. For the reasons I just told you about. Gas shortages are coming. They are coming. They are around the corner. And Russians will have to forget about all those good 30 years they had and go back to where they belong, to the USSR. I just don't understand these people. To me, that time was absolutely terrible. How could they allow to be dragged back there? Incredible. There will be prices skyrocketing. There will be gas shortages. And by the way, I cover these news like that, every single day. For patrons at patreon.com, I make 9 news available that I find important and matter. And I'll be watching closely fuel shortages, gas price increases, and so forth. So if you want to stay on top of things about Russia, sign up for Patreon, become patron of Inside Russia, and, you will have access to everything you need to know. Friends, before I finish and invite everyone to the live stream chat, I'm begging you, keep checks on your politicians. Do not allow your systems of political checks and balances get destroyed. Look at us. Look what happened to us, Russians. We allowed that to happen. So don't always keep your politicians in check. Otherwise, you're going to end up just like Russia. Thank you so very much. That has been my message. I would like to invite everyone to live stream chat. It's not going to be a very short one, not a long one, about 15 minutes or so. Thank you so much for coming. Fantastic to have over 10,000 people today. I appreciate you coming and spending time with me and listening to my message. Thank you, friends. Again, thank you for all your support. Not just the money, but words and prayers and wishes and love. And thank you. Thank you so much. If you're here for the first time, Inside Russia is a fantastic community, and it's moderated by a team of the best mods you can find in the world, in the universe. They are Lorna, Mami K, Bob S, Harry Potman, Amir Fazad, and Dirk. Fantastic to see you, friends. Thank you for always watching my back and making this community very enjoyable. Probably the best community on internet and YouTube. Thank you. The usual suspects, so fantastic to see you. Unfortunately, I do not see the sponsors anymore. I'm demonetized, but hey, I know you by names. Thank you, and fantastic to see again, see everyone. And if you want me to see your message or question easier, please put it in all caps and put Inside Rush after that sign, so it appears highlighted in orange. So, friends, what do you think? What do you think? What do you think? Your questions. Highlighted just like Harry Potman did. Thank you, Harry. Good to see you. Bob S did leitmotif for me. Greetings from Bowie, Maryland. Howdy, howdy. And Werner has the first question. What about gasoline for ambulances and fire engines? I think that the government will soon introduce a system of ratios. They definitely must keep ambulances and fire engines running. And they must supply these organizations, hospitals, fire departments, with diesel fuel or gas, whatever they need. They will be supplying. That's for sure. That they're gonna act just like the Soviet government did, because there was plenty of gas for buses, public transportation. Although I remember I was in Crimea, taking vacation with my dad, who was born in Crimea in '50s. And we didn't have gas. I recall this situation when there was one bus from the village where he was born. We stayed there in the mountains to the sea, to the beach. One bus in the morning, I think it's around 8 a.m., and one bus ride at night at 6 p.m. And the reason for that was only one bus ride, was no gas. But then that was pretty bad. It was like late 80s. But usually the government state companies, they had gas. Okay, they had access. People are the ones who didn't have gas. Baker Stoke, howdy. Thank you for checking in. Thank you so much. Santi Prieto, it's really funny. You can make live streams how it was and how it will be again in Russia. The other guy's gas pump idea will be better for the near future, I suppose. What's so funny about it, Santi? Why do you think I can make live streams how it was and how it will be again? It's sad. It's tragic, because it's not going to be good in the future. Keith, all the way from Hawaii. Fantastic to see you, friends. Sam the Legend K, howdy, howdy. Benzina нет. Dianthos, I agree. Yeah. Ho ho, howdy, howdy. Veronica Mifsad, howdy. Marty's Spirit, Frank in Texas, Christian. Hello, friends. CSD Global. Great job watching from the UK. Cheers to you, this wonderful English breakfast tea. Thank you for this, by the way. So good. Ohms, long time no see. How are you, friend? Kaltenberg, same thing. Long time no see. Paul Wright, Steffi, howdy, howdy. Kirill, howdy. Tom W, Lucas. Thank you. Trying to stay strong and positive. Speaking of which, Lucas, thanks for bringing it up. Taking a few days off, I made an announcement for patrons a little earlier today with my schedule. There will be no live stream tomorrow, and there will be no live stream day after tomorrow. It's Natasha's, my wife's, birthday. There will be either a stream or video on Friday, then there will be a Saturday stream, private stream. Sunday, I'm not sure. Monday, not sure. Tuesday, back to normal. So this is my schedule. Please stay um, alert for the announcements. And thank you, Lucas. I'm trying to stay as positive as I can. Need some rest. But Nine News, what I said about Nine News on Patreon will not be interrupted. So Nine News every single day. 3 news in the morning, 3 in the afternoon, 3 at night. On things important. What's currently happening in Russia. SVR, how long until Putin announces mobilization? Nah, I don't know. I'm not so sure he will announce a major mobilization. They have increased the rate at which they are mobilizing people in a stealth way without announcement. Okay, if they announce mobilization right now, it's going to be really bad for his rating, and that could be the last blow to Putin. So, this is the situation is developing. Terry's here. Good to see you, friend. Matthew, in your judgment, how much of Russian oil processing does Ukraine need to take out to make the military run out? The military will not run out. That's for sure. That's out of the question. Let's say that half of entire Russia's oil processing output is gone. So what they're gonna do is they're gonna buy from Kazakhstan and from Belarus. Belarus has extensive capabilities to produce lots of diesel and lots of gas, and Kazakhstan has been producing. So they're gonna be buying from the neighbors and supplying the army. So, but what they can do is, of course, they can cripple. The Ukrainians can cripple, and I don't know. The more they do it, is the more they cripple Russian military. Pantry Kate, howdy, good to see you. Kevin Baker. Russia is a gas station with no gas. I made a stream about that some time ago. Well, Putin confirmed that Russia is a gas station, but he said with gas. Pobeda pilot files complaint of not enough fuel for airlines flights for safety. Is that a joke or is it the real fact? Let me know. That's interesting. Recon 6 Delta, howdy, all the way in Carolina. Which one, south or north? Angela McNaught, howdy. Jay Sutton, hello, hello. Robbie from Australia. Stuzar, howdy. Plant manager quoted as saying, not that terrible. Well, I saw the fire consuming this entire column. The CDU 11 unit is nothing but a very long column, tank, vertically placed tank, and I saw a big fire. Well, of course, it's all comparative. Some think it's not bad, it's not terrible. Some think it's pretty terrible. It depends on which way you look at it. Of course, might be not that terrible. It's just a huge fire. Pafti from Latvia, howdy, howdy, friend. And Jens Jensen from Denmark, hello. Lewis, I think you are in between a rock and a hard place. Thank you so much, Lewis. You just pretty much put it nicely. Mighty right where I am. Big Mace MD from Scotland, howdy. They can always put vodka in their vehicles, if they have enough. Karano, howdy. Crazy Russian Sergey got his monetization back. Well, Frank, good for Sergey. I have not gotten it back. Like I said, I at least I'm talking to Google. At least they have not abandoned me. I'm taking everything that comes my way humbly. Probably will contact Sergey just so he'll tell me a story. We're good buddies, you know. Uh Guess is something people can't ignore. Terry, well, as I was trying to talk about in the stream, Ukraine has built her own bomb. Edward, where'd you get that information from? Sorry for you and your Karen Russians. Thank you so much. Nice word is always pleasant and uplifting. Thank you. Share Leaf, howdy. How long do you believe Russia can survive with Kazakhstan gas? Um, Very good question, and it applies to many, not just gas, to many areas. They say, how long can Russia survive with lack of food? How long can Russia survive with the lack of gas? Russia will not fall apart overnight because of that. But the thing is, the living standard of Russian people will be dropping lower and lower and lower, and they're gonna be getting used and more and more to that. Okay, they can adapt easily. Hey, we all come from the USSR. You should have seen how we lived in the USSR. We didn't have anything, literally. Okay, we had the same clothes for years and years, and somehow we lived. We adapted. And this is what they're gonna happen to them. They're gonna adapt. There was gonna be very little gas. They're gonna walk a lot. I used to walk all the time when I was growing up because public transportation was very unsystematic. You had to sometimes wait up to 40 minutes for a tram or bus to come. So you walked. And I was fine without gas. My dad was fine without gas. Well, not fine, but if you know what I mean. We survived, and Russian people will survive, you know. The military will be supplied by the gas, and I guess if they don't, if they run out of gas, the military, Russia will collapse then militarily, okay? But I don't think that is going to happen. Um, Brian Z, thank you so much. I'm glad you liked it. Just let me take a few questions, mods, about 5 minutes or so, and then I'll invite to everyone to pray. Big Mace MD, you're looking better today. Hope you're feeling better. Don't be afraid to take a break for your well being if you need it. Best wishes from Scotland. Thank you so much, Big Mace. There are two reasons for that. Yesterday and today, I slept a lot. Sometimes I hit the rock bottom and then I just, I start sleeping. I sleep all night and I sleep most of the day for like 16, 17 hours at a time. And that gets me back on my feet. And looking wise, I got different lens and I got different lighting, so it kind of makes me look a little better. That's also one of the. Let's look at it this way, like this. That's also one of the secrets. But thank you so very much. Thank you. And I am taking a break. I'll be sleeping a lot. Auntie Entropy. In the 50s, the gas stations in American countryside looked like that too. Can post Putin's Russia convert to electric vehicles? Thanks for marching forward no matter what. Auntie, well, thing is, this isn't 1950s anymore. This is 2024, and there's no need for Russia to have gas stations like that. There's no need for anyone. Okay, we've advanced technologically so much. We flew to space. We have internet. We have modern medicine. Why would we need to have gas stations like that? I don't believe that post-Putin Russia will convert to electric vehicles. That's going to be a very slow and painful process. If you look at the United States, well, you live in the United States, you will see electrical vehicles all around you. If you look in Russia into Russia, you won't see too many. You need to build infrastructure, the chargers for the electric cars. No one really in Russia cares, okay? So it's gonna take a long, long time. Eventually, most likely they will. Great Southern Land, howdy. Larry Barth from Canada, howdy, howdy, friend from Boston. Hello. Wish I could have a Boston chowder now. Thank you so much. Stormy Blue. Um, Inkfish. Surely, if gas prices go up, then food and supplies prices will also rise. Everything will rise. Gas prices is the foundation. Everything, like I said, it's going to affect all the industries, and it's going to be the multiplier. Happy Natasha Fest. Jeffrey from Vero Beach, Florida. Long time no see, friend. How are you? Uwe, I thank you so much. Rostock, Germany. Guten Abend und Dankeschön. Faith, howdy, howdy. Lewis, how about someone like your attempt to lead the Russian people from their darkness? My name is Constantine, not Moses. Great Southern Land all the way from the down under. Wow, Marinos, what makes me sad about all this? Russia could even be a part or partner of the EU and enjoy all the protection of its citizens. You know what? Uh, that really makes me very sad too, because we had a taste of this. The USSR fell apart, and all of a sudden, the world opened up to us, and Russia was okay. Russia was accepted. It was not a pariah anymore, and we all of a sudden we became the part of the global village, and it felt so good compared, on the contrast from the USSR. It felt like this is finally it. Finally, we're free. Finally, we're part of the world. Finally, we are enjoying what the world is enjoying. I remember the concerts. All the stars came to Russia. I remember this huge events. I remember hope. We had hope. That was the best part. Absolutely. Um, I think the culmination was the International Space Station. Russia was a part of the countries that sent one station to the space, and that was the embodiment, like the result. Look what we can do if we work together, if we don't fight, if we don't have Cold War. And Russia has gone back. It nullified. Putin nullified. Putin has brought Russia to this. This is the future. You got to understand. This is the future of Russia. And it's already happening. Sandra, Natasha's birthday is 2 days from now, but thank you. Thank you, friends. Melanie, does Russia have a highway system like the USA? Well, no, it doesn't. It has roads. I mean, has a couple decent highways going from St. Petersburg all the way to the south, but that's it. Nothing compared to the USA, but although there are roads, Hell Porter sounds very like us after 6 day war in October 73 to 74, again 79 Iran. See article Smithsonian, May, same event, strategies, different cause. Changed USA forever. Thank you for sharing, friend. Is it possible to fill gas cans in addition to the car tank? Yeah, that's what we did. I always had a gas can in my car, and because you never knew where when you would run into a run out of gas or run into, like, there weren't many gas stations. Okay, it's just a bunch of this benzavos, the trucks on the road, but it was always like last resort. You're running out of gas, then you can get gas there because you could be sure it was diluted with water, with something. So sometimes it would kill your engine. It was that bad. So I'm actually interested in your experiment. Went with stream for patrons. Lucas, well, look, the experiment went well, and this is the last question I'm going to take. It's very important. Okay, so this is how it worked in the past. They were sponsors at Inside Russia. At YouTube, they were patrons at patreon.com. The idea is the same, only the sponsors, the Google takes 30% and Patreon takes like 7%. Okay, that the difference is just in the cut that they take. So I every single Saturday I host a live stream for patrons and sponsors at the same time for both. So what I usually do is I make a private live stream and I copy a link to that private live stream. Can be accessed to anyone by anyone who has that link. And I would send all patrons and all sponsors this link. That's how it worked. I know all the sponsors here, they know they've done that like hundreds of times. But now I cannot reach sponsors. I can make sponsor only, still can make sponsor only post, but the sponsors don't see it because they're not sponsors anymore. I'm demonetized. Sponsors are only for those channels who are monetized. And that is the problem. So for patrons, it's the same as, business as usual. So I just put a link on Patreon in form of a message of a post for patrons only, for paid patrons. And last Saturday, I made a post saying, "Look, this is for sponsors of YouTube only, but I really rely on your honesty. If you're not a sponsor, don't click on this link. If you are a sponsor." But I guess people misunderstood me and they started sending messages like, "Oh, I'm canceling my sponsorship or patronship or whatever. Oh, you like." So it was like misunderstood by some people. And I'm trying to figure out if you have any ideas how I can arrange this access to the Saturday stream for sponsors who are still sponsors. It's just, the sponsorship is gonna expire sooner or later. So they're sponsors and not sponsors. Okay, if I were to get monetization back, they would just become sponsors again. So sorry if it's complicated. I didn't want to offend anyone. I didn't want to make feel bad, but this that's what I do. I this is my way of saying thank you for sponsors and patrons of Inside Russia. And I'm gonna be adding sponsors of Buy Me Coffee because there's also sponsorship there. So, and at Buy Me Coffee, it's easy. I will just make a post available to the sponsors. At Patreon, same thing. And I'm still trying to figure out how to not offend anyone and send the message to sponsors. But anyway, friends, thank you so very much. I appreciate you coming and giving me a chance. As usual, we end our live streams with prayers. And then we are ending one with a prayer right now. So I'm inviting everyone to join me in prayer. If you don't like to call it prayer, don't call it that way, but just join me to repeat good wishes send good energy, good vibes, whatever you want to call it. It's all the same to me. So please join me in prayer, okay, right now. Thank you. Dear Lord Jesus Christ, thank you so much for everything you've given us. Thank you for the food you placed on our tables and roofs you've given over our head, you put over our heads. Thank you for surrounding us with people who love us and who we love. Thank you for our families. Please give us wisdom to keep the skies above our children's heads safe and peaceful, and give us wisdom to raise our children the way that when they grow up, they will become great people, will not engage in any wars, and will make this world a better place. For now, please keep our children safe and healthy. Dear Lord, I am begging you to stop the bloodshed in Ukraine. Please reach out and touch the hearts and souls of those who are responsible and capable of making that decision. Wake them up. Show them that they still have some love in their hearts and they're still human beings, and make them um, make the decision to stop the bloodshed. Please help my country, Russia. Assemble the army of your strongest angels with sharpest swords. Have Saint Michael in shining armor lead that army and send all to the earth like your heavenly avalanche to get rid of the demons who have hijacked my country, who we know by their names and by their faces. Please have angels come and help good Russians run the country and make it peaceful, loving, and respecting. Please help all those who are traveling, send them safe travels. Help those who are in danger in high waters, please send them safety. Send help to those who are applying for any kind of asylum. Please help single mothers and fathers who are struggling, raising their children, trying to make ends meet. Please help those who are helping Ukrainians and help Ukrainians who are currently under Russian attacks. Send angels to send them safety. Dear Lord, please help all the sick, the cold, the hungry, the addicted, the homeless, the jobless, the depressed, the betrayed, the ones who are losing their faith, crying, feeling not well about themselves and about their lives. Please help those who have lost their way. Fill their hearts with love. Send them protection, wisdom, safety, and show them that you have not abandoned them. You are with them, watching every step that they take and helping with every move they make. Please help everyone in need. Thank you so much for allowing us to come together and pray. Thank you for everyone who's praying along with me or simply watching us pray. Answer everyone's prayer and make everyone's wish come true. Dear Lord, I would like to ask for some people who need your help. They are Charles Rames, his wife. Please send help in recovery. Sabrina, may her soul rest in peace. Ann Larson and daughter Hannah, Jeffrey S. and his family, Alex from Albuquerque, Mark Rutan, Tom W., J.R. McKim, Frank in Texas, Gabing with Gary, Greg, Lisa Kumrian, Harry Potman and his family, Terry Carter, John McLean, Linda Trombley, Paula W., Dennis, Jason Carney, Susie Mailer, Tim Mayers, Dory, Rhonda McGillis, John, Taylor, Wayne, Dave, Don, Darla, George Roberty, Pamela, Meta Spencer, David Porter, his family, and everyone who is in Chernovtsi right now, Life, Randolph, Grace, Dean Spooner and his church, Yelena, Natasha, Michael, Jake, Oля, Dasha, Sky, Svetlana, Sergey, Liz, Ron Klotzer, Liz Dumbrell, Koshkin Dom, Sandra, Mike and Mike, Petra Olson, Joseph Abide, Melissa. Please help all the children from Ukraine who have been misplaced. Have them reunite with their families and live in their homes. Thank you so much, dear Lord Jesus Christ. Amen. Friends, thank you very much for coming, giving me a chance, another chance, listening to me, interacting, sending me good wishes, praying with me, sending me love. Thank you so much. You are awesome and you rock. Before I sign off, I would like to ask you the usual to finish the stream with saying along with me, as loud as you can, the following: Carthago delenda est.